Just one of these 16 SEC schools will be standing by the end of this video, but there's a new Imperialism rule, and if you've never seen one of these before, let me explain how this map will go from 16 colleges to just one. Each turn, I'll spin this team wheel to land on an SEC school, and then this wheel is going to decide what direction they attack in. But the only way a school can get eliminated is if they're attacked. For example, if Alabama has to attack Auburn, but the Tigers win the game, then both of those schools will remain in Imperialism. So this time around, home field advantage is going to be more important than ever, and Texas A&M's the first team attacking. Let's just go ahead, see what direction they're going in. It will be to the north, and that means for the first match of SEC Imperialism, it's between two Texas schools. Now, if Texas can defend their territory here, neither team will be eliminated. And with this new rule, I think it makes attacking a lot more rewarding. The only way that you can get put out is by losing in your own stadium. And let's just say this one's a lot closer than I thought it would be. With 56 seconds left on the clock, Texas A&M is only trailing by one possession, and the Aggies could very well go down the field, get the touchdown, get the 2-point conversion, and send this to OT. They still have 2 timeouts to work with, but they're about to take a sack, and he just pounced on him from behind. There was nothing Connor could do. The halfback screen is going to get him a little bit though. Get off of him. And Texas A&M better hurry up and snap this ball. Time is ticking down. It is 4th and 5, and it looks like they have somebody open over past midfield, but he couldn't hang on to the football, and Quinn Ewers is just going to knee it out. That was a great start to SEC Imperialism. I always love a close game, but the result of it is since Texas A&M lost, absolutely nothing happens on the map. They couldn't take the Longhorns territory. With that new rule, I'm very interested to see how it all plays out, and Arkansas is one of the teams on the map that's touching so many other schools. They've been directed to attack Oklahoma, so we'll see how this plays out. And considering the Razorbacks upset Tennessee, they might be able to pull this off too. Who is going to be the first team to fall in SEC Imperialism? Will it be Oklahoma? It actually could be. This is a tie game with 2 minutes left, and going into the 2-minute warning, they're on a 3rd down. Jackson Arnold's been benched for Michael Hawkins Jr., but the issue in this game seems to be Oklahoma's defense, and that is a massive 1st down for the Sooners. All they really have to do from this spot is get into field goal range. That might not be that difficult for them, as that throw over the middle is going to take them inside the 10. No, they're going all the way to the crib. They're going to take their touchdown. They're not going to try and settle for a field goal. And that makes perfect sense. You have to trust your defense, even if they haven't been that solid in this game, and they're already letting them go to about midfield. Taylon Green is dissecting this defense like a laboratory frog. They're going to drop the ball here, though, and we're going to see whether or not the stadium pulse comes into play for Oklahoma. It clearly has not affected the Razorbacks that much in this game, and they're also picking up the first. But they still have another 35 yards to pick up with just a minute remaining on the clock, and that throw is not going to be caught. It looked like it could have been intercepted, and just thinking about the odds of Oklahoma getting put out right now, it's not that likely, especially since they're going to get the pick here. They're waving goodbye to Arkansas, but it shouldn't have been that close in the first place, especially since Michael Hawkins Jr. had a stat line like this. We're now 2 games deep, and there hasn't been a single change to the map, but it's going to be hard to win a game in another team's stadium. Now South Carolina's been landed on, and they're in an interesting spot. They're more on the outside part of the map, so the arrow could have pointed them up to this land, and they could have claimed it for free, but instead they're attacking Georgia. We should have another game on our hands where nothing really changes, but you never know what could happen in Imperialism. There are always a ton of upsets that we get to witness, so I'm excited for this. Well, with less than a minute left, it would be extremely difficult to blow a 38-point lead, and I can't believe what I'm seeing right now. The Gamecocks are settling for a field goal. Even worse, instead of going for the onside kick, they have fully given up. They're just kicking it deep, and they've just accepted their fate that they had zero chance at pulling off this attack. The Bulldogs refuse to be the first team eliminated from SEC Imperialism, but at some point, somebody has to lose, and LSU is on the attack. We'll see where this arrow is going to take them. It's pointing them over to the east, and Mississippi State better come prepared to defend their home territory. As an 82 overall team, they're 10 overalls worse than LSU, and when you're only able to score 7 points, it's going to be super hard to take down the Tigers. Mississippi State didn't have a chance. That means we're getting our first elimination, and like every matchup in this Imperialism is going to be a rivalry. It didn't look very competitive to me, though. We're getting some change to this map, and now instead of 16 schools being left, there's just 15 of them. The worst one's been taken out. That should not be a shock to anybody, and Missouri's in an interesting position being on the outside part as well. That arrow just means they'll take the state above them, and I have not put a boundary on this map. What that means is some of these outside schools could expand across the entire US, but it doesn't really help them because they're missing out on a chance to attack another school. Auburn has been landed on, though. They're going to be attacking to the west, so they're not going to get to play Alabama yet, but instead they're attacking the Tigers. With LSU being a little bit bigger, there's a higher chance that they're attacked, but this game is in Death Valley, which is going to make it very hard for Auburn to win. Somehow, though, with less than 2 minutes left, LSU finds themselves down by 5. I can't believe that they're trailing in this game, but their receiver was struggling to suck that ball in to catch it. You got to be able to hold on there, and the halfback screen gets them 5. This is a huge moment for the Auburn defense, and on 3rd and 5, they're going to stand strong, so it's all going to come down to this 4th and 5. that. Let's see what Garrett is going to do. He gets it out super quickly and it's caught. So LSU has survived, at least for the time being, and now he's slinging it inside the red zone. It was inevitable though. We all know that Auburn is very good at collapsing, and LSU's fans can sense that they're about to score. Here on 2nd and 5, Garrett is going to step up into a sack though, and LSU has burned their final timeout. So here on 3rd and 8, they need to get something and they had to throw it away. Once again, the Auburn defense has a chance to just put this one away. It all comes down to this play right here. And what are they doing? I'm convinced they don't want to pull off the upset. They're just not going to be able to beat LSU. I mean, they still have 28 seconds to respond, but they left Mason Taylor wide open, and they're doing it again on the 2-point conversion. The Tigers are going to have to get into field goal range, and they shouldn't have returned that kick. Now Peyton Thorne goes for a yard. Never mind, they got 3 out of that play. It still wasn't very useful. And Auburn is so talented whenever it comes to striking out on transfer portal quarterbacks. It's like a gift. 4th and 15 now, though. It all comes down to this play, and Auburn is going to move the chains. So there's still a little bit of hope. But with no timeouts left, 9 seconds, and on your own 29-yard line, you can't do much. Now, we have seen successful Hail Marys in Imperialism before, so I don't want to count out the Tigers too much. Peyton Thorne does get that ball off, and it is going to be caught, but not. It highlighted the player like he was holding on to it. He was still well short of the end zone. And LSU came very close to being eliminated right there. That would have been game-changing for this Imperialism, really affecting how it plays out. But LSU fans can breathe a sigh of relief. They're still in this, and Missouri's been landed on. They've already gotten to expand their territory once. Now they're headed to the northeast. And I almost feel like it's worse for them to not get to attack. That's now 2 different attempts where they could have had a chance to take out Arkansas or Oklahoma. But instead, they're now bordering my Wildcats, so they could play in the future. As for the Sooners, this wheel is going to take them to the north. So once again, we don't have too much going on in this round. The farther we get into Imperialism, though, it is crucial that more teams are bordering each other, and Tennessee is up next. They're going to be attacking to the northeast. That is unfortunately my Kentucky Wildcats territory, and it would be disgusting if they were the team that puts us out. I am not excited for this matchup, even if we do get to play it at Kroger Field, because the risk of elimination was on the line, and Kentucky's entire issue this whole year has been scoring points. What are you doing? You literally just ran backwards into James Pierce Jr. for 15 yards, buddy. I'm not gonna lie, I had super high hopes for Brock Vandegrift, but I've just been left disappointed, and we're handing it off on 2nd and 23. I feel like Kentucky has almost no shot at picking this up. It's another sack. And this offense is no fun to watch at all. Is there any chance we even pick this up? I mean, the Wildcats do still have 3 timeouts left, so we could get the ball back, but we're giving up a huge run on this first play. Push him out of bounds at least. Come on, do that at least. We can't do anything right, though. He was able to stay in, so I might just have to accept that Kentucky's going to be the 2nd SEC school eliminated. Being so far north as well, I thought they had a pretty good chance at making a deep run, but it's all going to come down to this 3rd down right here. If Tennessee doesn't convert it, we're going to at least get the ball back, but there's not going to be that much time left. It would actually be amazing if they missed this field goal for field positioning, but Tennessee was not going to do that for us either. I can't believe I'm actually saying this on camera, but I would rather have Iowa's offense this season than Kentucky's. That's how bad ours has been. Completing that pass does no good either, because by the time we get up to the line to spike the ball, there's 10 seconds left. We're going to have a bluegrass miracle go in our favor, and let's see if that can happen. This ball's getting chucked up, and it is out of bounds. They are pressing Barry and Brown, though, so there is a chance he just beats them deep. Brock Vandegrift didn't get it out in time, though. This one is over. James Pierce Jr. might have had like 5 sacks in this game, so I wouldn't even be surprised if he won player of the game. Look at that. What did I just call? He had 4 of them, and since my Wildcats couldn't defend their home territory, we have to make the state of Kentucky orange, and I just gotta say, this map looks disgusting right now. Well, with my rooting interest already eliminated, now I can just root for pure chaos. And Texas A&M is going to be headed to the north again. They're taking another shot at being able to eliminate the Longhorns, and all Texas can do is hope that they don't lose this one either. Since this is being filmed before they play Georgia in real life, I'm not sure if they're still undefeated or not, but either way, they're one of the best teams in the country, so it blows my mind. With 2 minutes left in this game, they're trailing by 3, and now they're going to the 5. With all these shadows right here, it's a little bit harder to see the football, but they're going to hand it off for a touchdown, and that was such an easy run, so now they're up by 4. These fans look too happy, though. They aren't in the clear yet, because this celebration could be a bit too premature. Texas A&M still has plenty of time to score a touchdown. They just have to go 82 yards down the field. And I don't know how to say this kid's name, but I think it's Connor Wegman, so we'll see what he's able to do. Here on 2nd and 3, they're going to the 35, and they still have a minute and a half left on the clock. He gets this one out, but it's not caught. To be fair to his receiver, though, he didn't stand a chance at getting that, and his offensive line's not helping him much either. It is 3rd and 10. again, the stadium pulse is maxed out at the moment. He's confused about who is who, and it all comes down to this play right here where he gets it out on 4th and 16, but it has been swatted down, so Texas should just run it 3 times. The Aggies only have 1 timeout left, so I don't think they can get this back, but they might be lucky enough to have a shot at a Hail Mary. That quarterback kneel is not going to get rid of the rest of the clock. This kick, though, is good. So even if the Aggies somehow did pull off a miracle, they're going to only go to overtime. I'm always interested to watch these final plays just in case pure chaos happens. Connor Wegman has all the time in the world back there. I mean, he has had like 10 seconds and he still did nothing. Once again, Texas survives. They've already fended off 2 attacks from the Aggies. But with how this imperialism works, that could still be one of the first of many. Until somebody attacks Texas A&M and takes their territory, they're going to be in this. So we're headed back to the wheel now, and it's going to land on Arkansas. They've already had 1 failed attack. This could be number 2. But it could also be the battle that knocks out Missouri for good. The Tigers are going to have to defend their home territory well in this rivalry. But there's been very few games in this imperialism that haven't been close, and this could be another one. If Arkansas can get into the end zone with 3 minutes left, that would make things very interesting. And if they're in Wildcat on 3rd and goal, we all know exactly what's coming. Clearly, Missouri did as well, and Arkansas is in hurry-up mode with their running back at quarterback. That was the worst 4th down decision I think I've ever seen. By the time they were able to get the ball back and work it down the field, there's only like 30 seconds left, and they just caught that ball off of the deflection. I didn't even see it. Hang on, this game might not be over yet. Look at that catch. But you can't celebrate too much. You're down by 5. They need to be able to get this 2-point conversion first, which they do. But more importantly, the onside kick coming up. With only 2 timeouts left, this is Arkansas's only chance to stay in this game, and Missouri's going to recover it, defending their home territory successfully. It was a close call, but once again, the attackers are really struggling to win. And we'll see how long Brady Cook's able to keep the Tigers in this. It would be nice if we could have a new school attacking. Georgia is scary though, because whatever direction they're going in, they're probably going to win. Well, they're headed south to attack the Gators. They're going to try to take all of Florida. But things get even worse for the Gators since this game is always played in Jacksonville. As you can see, I'm not able to put this at the Swamp. It won't let me change the stadium. I don't know why we don't have the customization to do this. And that means whenever Florida and Georgia play, neither of these teams get a home field advantage. I think the game still thinks that the Gators have the home field advantage though, because that's the only way I can even imagine they wouldn't be losing this. With a minute left, the Bulldogs are down by 11. So now I'm questioning whether or not neutral sites in this game are actually on a neutral site or if they're still a home team. Sample size is way too small to tell though. And I'm only watching this to be a hater. I want to see Florida blow an 11-point lead. That would be hilarious, and all Georgia needs is an onside kick. But the odds of that working are so slim for them, and they don't even get the 2-point conversion. We have seen these recovered in imperialisms before, but it's not going to be in this game. And somehow Florida has avoided being eliminated. So Kentucky gets put out early on, but both Tennessee and Florida are still in. And that is a hard pill for me to swallow. Now we're headed back to Texas A&M. And there's no way that they're about to attack Texas for a 3rd time. If they fail this one as well, they might as well just pack it up. But I figured something like this would happen, just not this often already. Now at one point, the Longhorns were up 34-3. So I thought that the Aggies had no shot at winning this game, but now they've been able to drive it down the field. Taking that loss right there though could end up really hurting them. I doubt that they're able to get into the end zone again. So their 31-point comeback hopes are probably going to fall short, but I'm just making sure that they're not going to pull that off because that would be legendary. Turns out with that stop, that's the last time that they'd ever see the ball. And the Longhorns have now beaten them 3 times. The map has now remained unchanged for quite a bit, and at some point eliminations have got to come quicker. Ole Miss is a good team, so this could be what we're wishing for, and if they knocked out Alabama this early on, that would be incredible. Being only 3 overalls worse, they have a decent chance. But just off of using Ole Miss in my last rebuild, I know that the sim engine does not see this team very well. It was a struggle with the Rebels, which is why I'm shocked they're up by 4 with 2 minutes left, and there's no way they're about to take down Alabama on the road, knocking them out of imperialism. They can't catch the ball. Jalen Milroe looks so upset right now, and here on 3rd and 10, they're going to have to move the chains. We'll see if he's able to get it out in time, and that ball is deflected like 50 feet in the air. I'm not sure if they're going to go for this or not, but I think it makes sense to, especially since they still have all 3 of their timeouts left. They could get the ball back, but they do catch this. That's going to take us to the 2-minute warning, and Alabama just went from being in a ton of trouble to threatening to take a lead against Ole Miss, but he had to get that out. Ole Miss has been coming. They're going to continue to come, but they didn't bring the pressure there. The deflection gets them an interception though, go, and they have the ball. That was such a big hit. Huge play from the Rebels. Now they could take down the Crimson Tide. And there is a turnover chain. I didn't even know Ole Miss had one of those. I'm not sure if that ever even popped up in our rebuild. They're running the ball here, though. And that's probably all that Ole Miss is going to do. It's going to give Alabama one more chance to get the ball back and score a touchdown, but they have to get a stop on this 3rd and 9 first, and they're not going to. Ole Miss has just won on the road. And I can't believe this is how Alabama's going out. They only scored 10 points against Ole Miss. Jackson Dart played terribly. These stats are atrocious. But Jalen Milrose aren't that much better. Now, obviously, I think it's pretty safe to say that the Crimson Tide were one of the favorites. So the fact that they no longer even have a chance is pretty crazy. You know who's made it farther than them? Vanderbilt. And Arkansas gets landed on again. So maybe the 3rd time will be the charm and they'll actually win an attack. Going up against Oklahoma, though, it's going to be tough. And my expectation is they're just going to lose this again. Well, their defense is going to be holding on for dear life because with a minute and a half left, they only have a 1-point lead over the Razorbacks. All it takes is one field goal for Arkansas, and they're going to pull this one off. They have a hitch route wide open that Taylor Green would eventually see, and they're going to the 43. You have to wonder when they're going to start taking some timeouts, because odds are if Arkansas gets another first down, it's over. College kickers on this game are far more consistent than they are in real life. We'll see what the Razorbacks do on 2nd and 10. All the time in the world for Taylor Green to fight for like 5 yards, and the Sooners are not taking a single timeout. I would like to think that Arkansas is in field goal range from right here, so they're being smart about just running down the clock. Arkansas might actually pull this one off, especially if they get a gain right here, but it's intercepted. Oklahoma is going to survive. I have no idea how they just did that, but Taylor Green has cost Arkansas the game. Oklahoma fans can't believe it either. They were this close to being eliminated, and this was just another low-scoring battle. It's kind of crazy that after all of that, nobody's affected, and we still have 13 teams left in this Imperialism, though Oklahoma's getting landed on. If this arrow spins back in Arkansas's direction, that would be hilarious, but instead it's pointed up towards Missouri, so they're attacking them. This should be a good one. The Tigers could be eliminated, and I can't believe how high scoring this game is. Oklahoma is coming off of scoring 10 points against Arkansas, but they have 35 versus Missouri. They're about to be at 42, and they are not out of this matchup yet. Now, their defense has given up 49 points, so that's also a major issue because scoring 42, they should have a lead, and I'm not sure if they've gotten a stop all day, but they're relying on them to get one stop with their 3 timeouts, and they've already given up a 15-yard run. I don't think the Sooners are getting the ball back, but they have one final attempt to hold Missouri's offense, and that's a good start. Now it's 2nd and 7. Once again, they're just handing it off, and the Sooners are all over it. So here we go, 3rd and 5, and Oklahoma is not getting the ball back. That running back is powerful from the waist down. He just ran through those defenders right there. So the Tigers have been able to survive, and they're going to keep their land for a bit longer. I cannot believe how rare eliminations have been so far. Georgia's been landed on, though, and this means that any team that could be attacked here is in a lot of trouble. This time they're headed over to Auburn. They're going to be playing them on the road, and we'll see who wins the Deep South Soldus rivalry. To be honest, I think Georgia should just be embarrassed with their performance, because the fact that Auburn even has a chance with a minute and 20 seconds left to go down the field and take a lead is crazy. This should not be close at all, but the Bulldogs have not performed well in Sims so far, and Peyton Thorne just takes his check down. Never mind, apparently that is Hank Brown. And if that means Peyton Thorne got injured and making that switch is what's gotten Auburn to this point, then maybe it was worth it. They're going to the 1. The Tigers are refusing to go out. All they have to do is get a touchdown from here, but that's not it. You also got to keep in mind, they're going to leave Georgia a ton of time. But this is insane. Nobody wants to lose at home in SEC Imperialism and just take the sack. There's nothing you can do about that. It is now 3rd and goal, and Auburn's in a lot of trouble, but they score. And if they hit their extra point, they're going to be up by 1. Of course, they would, but the job is not done yet. They have to stop Carson Beck and this Bulldogs offense from getting a field goal. I still can't believe they even have a lead at this point in the game, but it popped up with his field general ability that this was cover 1, and they got a big gain. I figured that was probably going to happen with that press cover 1. Now the drag gets them another 6. And Georgia's a lot closer to field goal range than Auburn would like. They only need about 15 more yards, and Carson Beck could do that with this play right here. He slings it, and there's an open receiver. I think that is going to ruin Auburn, and he just had way too much time back there in the pocket. It was a clean look, and nobody was on number 6. Lovett found that little space in the defense, and they're not running the ball. They're still passing, so they must not feel comfortable where they're at. But that is how Arkansas lost to Oklahoma. If Carson Beck throws an interception and Georgia loses this, that would be mental. But of course, after running the ball, they're hitting their field goal, and it was about time they settled for 3. Auburn is not going to have like any time to respond either, so it's been a great effort from them, but they're about to be eliminated, and there's not much they can do. Going out swinging like this, though, putting up a great fight is far better than how Mississippi State went out when they just got destroyed. And how is there still time on the clock? Let's see what Hank Brown's plan is to get 76 yards in one play. It's just chucking it up deep, where it looks like it's a one-on-one, but Georgia was still able to defend, and they're going to get the win, knocking out Auburn. It might not have been pretty, but Lovett was the receiver that got the job done. And if the Bulldogs want to win this entire Imperialism, they're going to have to play better than they just did in that matchup. They're not in a great spot with Ole Miss, Tennessee, and LSU all on their border, and there are some other schools that could attack them as well. I just don't see them winning it. They aren't done attacking though. The wheel has landed on them again, and even if that arrow somehow barely missed South Carolina's territory, the Gamecocks still have the closest land. We might actually be getting back-to-back eliminations. And look at that, Georgia's actually showed up in this sim where the game is not going to end right here. Now it's a long shot for South Carolina, but if the Bulldogs don't pick up this 4th and 1, it is technically not over, and that is going to seal it. It was about time that they played the way that they're supposed to though, and they've been able to take out another rival. It was only a matter of time before the elimination started to happen, and with teams starting to drop like flies, there's a lot less chance of an underdog being able to win this entire thing. Taking a look at the map of our SEC Imperialism, there are still 11 schools left, and it's so weird to me that all of Alabama is already eliminated. Without either of those schools on the map, it just doesn't look the same, but Texas A&M has gotten very lucky that Texas's wheel spun to the west. That could have been the Longhorns' chance at revenge to beat the team that keeps on attacking them, and getting extra territory really doesn't help them at all. I'm not sure why I didn't limit how far these schools could expand out, especially since with another wheel spin, it's happening again, but I didn't want to box them into a certain area, and LSU has nowhere to go. I'm not sure who it's going to be, but they're surrounded. They have to attack somebody, and of all the teams it could have been, it is going to go over to Georgia. This could be it. This could be where the Bulldogs get eliminated, and with such a big elimination on the line, we're going to start watching here. A little over 3 minutes left, and Georgia is down by 2 points versus LSU. This could literally be it, but picking up the first down definitely helps. The Bulldogs have got to defend their home territory though. They have more work to do, and their receiver never stepped out of bounds. He's down at the 1. It looks like it was a tight end that came away with that catch too, or else he's just a receiver that had too many biscuits. And all they have to do really is just hand it off to take it in with Trevor Etienne, but they're throwing it to him instead, and he's not in. They're making it harder than it needs to be, and all you have to do is create a wide enough hole there to take it in. Georgia might be safe from elimination right now, but if their defense can't hang on for these final 2 minutes, they're in trouble. All it takes is a miraculous touchdown from LSU, and they're going to be able to knock out Georgia still. They're already getting to midfield, and Garrett Nussmeier is firing away. Here on the next play, they're getting another 10. So you have to wonder if Georgia's defense is actually going to be able to hold LSU. They did right here, but they still have 3 plays to get 10 more yards just to keep the chains moving, and that's going to get them a lot closer. On 3rd and 2, they could even hand it off. They have plenty of time, but they've opted to going through the air, and it's an interception. LSU is going to choke away their lead that they had. And can somebody just tackle this guy? How far is he going to get? With 2 timeouts left, the Tigers could technically get the ball back, but they're not stopping Trevor Etienne right here. He is staying in bounds. And that impressive play from him is going to ice the game and make sure Georgia doesn't lose to LSU. If you thought the Bulldogs were about to be eliminated, you'd be wrong. But there's plenty of other chances for that to happen, and Texas A&M gets landed on again. They're probably about to attack Texas for like the 4th time. No, it points over to the other direction. And I thought that might be enough to have them play LSU, but no, it's still going to Texas's territory. At some point, you have to expect that the Longhorns are going to lose, but it hasn't happened yet, even if they're in another close call. With a little over 2 minutes left, they have a 1-point lead, and they're not defending that zig route very well. They're giving up 15, and that's going to take us to the 2-minute warning. This is very similar to the Arkansas-Oklahoma game we watched a few games ago. We're getting in field goal range. We'll win this for the Aggies, and what a move. Texas is in some trouble right here, and it's kind of unfair. They haven't even had a chance to attack the Aggies, but they're playing more passively because they don't want to expand their territory, and that's also a strategy because the less territory that you have, the less chance you have of being attacked, though this 2nd and 2 is going to be picked up as well. It is not looking good for the Longhorns. Their defense is going to have to force a turnover or something because the field goal range is coming, and the longer this clock runs, the worse it's going to get. You want to have a chance to respond back, so if they get past that 40-yard line, I think we're going to see them starting to take timeouts, but they were able to throw it away in time, and if they got the sack there, that might have done it. Right now, the Aggies cannot kick from this position. They need to get at least 5 or 10 more yards. They're going to get more than that, though, and that's pretty much going to do it unless the Longhorns use their 3 timeouts or let them get in. To my surprise, though, Texas A&M called one, and I have no idea why they would do that. They should be trying to run out as much clock as they can. They are literally giving Texas a chance to respond back by not making them use their timeouts, but then they got this big run. And after calling their 3rd timeout, they are now throwing the ball on the goal line. What are the Aggies doing? I'm so confused right now. All they have to do is hit this field goal, though, and it is no good. At that angle, you have to watch the refs closely. They're going to signal for it. They were just not able to get it in. And this has happened in Imperialisms before, but that was such a crazy choke. I don't think it's ever been to that extent. At this point, Texas cannot lose to Texas A&M. The game is literally just not letting it happen. And the Longhorns deserve for this wheel to land on them so they can go on the attack. Instead, though, it's going to land on Tennessee, who's in a fantastic position. And with the arrow pointing up, they're just going to take the state of Indiana. They could literally take the entire Northeast before having to play again. And Ole Miss has already knocked out one team. Now they're attacking to the Northwest. With Arkansas having to defend their territory, they could very well put them out too. And the Razorbacks have definitely had their fair chance to win plenty of games. With elimination on the line, though, you have to wonder if they're going to clutch up. And it seems like they should, since Ole Miss has come out chewing the clock with less than a minute left. They don't even want to get in field goal range to send this to overtime. I am so confused why they didn't hike the ball, why they ran down the clock like that. I'm not sure what Jackson Dart is doing. But it looks like Arkansas is going to survive because Ole Miss has had the worst 1-minute drill ever, and they checked it down. It did not take long for the computer to make some dumb decisions. And that means that Arkansas is safe for the time being, where the wheel is now headed to Texas. Now, we all know where this arrow needs to point, and it's not headed in that direction, but instead up to Oklahoma to get us the Red River Rivalry. This is another one of those games that's always locked into a neutral site, though, and there's nothing I can do about it. The Sooners can't technically get their home field advantage. Even without it, though, they are in this game. They're only trailing by 2 points with 2 minutes left, and they're going to midfield. Now, we just saw a team in a very similar situation versus Texas, who ended up getting into field goal range, but they couldn't hit the kick. So even if Oklahoma does get there, there's no guarantees that they're pulling off the win. In order to survive, they have to come out on top too. So this is super important, and they get the first. I don't know what's going on with Michael Hawkins Jr.'s eyes, though, and it's like he has been possessed by former Oklahomians to just make sure they don't lose. No Sooners fans wanted to lose to Texas, and it seems like they have this one taken care of. But there are consequences for settling for a field goal not down the middle in this game. That's how Texas A&M missed their kick, and on 3rd and 6, they are going over to a hash mark trying to get the first. So they could very well shank this too. Now, it's a bit farther back, so we're just going to have to watch the refs. Will Oklahoma stay alive? It looks like they're going to. The only issue with that, though, is this is not over yet. Texas could still get in field goal range. So in these final 43 seconds, the Sooners defense is going to have to hang on, and they are going to make the tackle. The Longhorns have no timeouts left, so it's going to be hard for them to go as far as they need to, especially since that ball was almost intercepted. It all comes down to this 4th and 3. Oklahoma could seal it right here, and they've handed the ball off, which is going nowhere. I am filming this video after the hurricane to have something that's a little bit quicker, and something that's still going to be entertaining at the same time, but no, instead, nobody seems to want to lose at home. Even though that game technically wasn't, everybody's defending their home territory so well. And this rule's amazing for Imperialism, but I can't do it with 134 teams. That might actually take like a week straight to film. Oklahoma's attacking to the east. But before we finish the rest of this video, a word from Prize Picks, today's video sponsor. College football keeps on having great weekends, and to make it even more entertaining, I was on Prize Picks, where I can take anywhere from 2 to 6 players and then go higher or lower on their projections. With the Demons and Goblins system, you're also able to make entries easier or harder, and I'm coming off this win, so I'll definitely be looking to do that again. Prize Picks is available in over 30 states, so there's a good chance yours is eligible, and I can get you some free cash to start out with on there, because Code Board will get you $50 instantly whenever you play with your first $5 plus lineup. But now it's time to resume the rest of this video. And just after defending themselves, now they're going to try and take Arkansas. It's a super close call. If that arrow pointed a little bit higher, they would have attacked Missouri, but instead they're trying to put out the Razorbacks, who are in a pretty good position with a minute left. Now, they almost just threw an interception right there, and that would have ruined the fact that they're in field goal range, so no matter what, they can send it to OT. But after that last completion, it looks like they're being a little bit smarter. They can hit a field goal from this range if they don't get the first, and it was hard to tell, but nobody caught that. With how many close games we've watched, I'm actually surprised that we have yet to see one go to overtime, but it's looking like that's what's going to happen right here, unless somehow in this 23-second time frame, Oklahoma's able to drive down the field and that run doesn't go as far as they were hoping. Once again, Michael Hawkins has some demons inside him or something, but that's what got the Sooners past Texas. So if I was Arkansas, I'd be pretty intimidated right now. He's going to keep it on the read option and get 7. Starting off overtime pretty well for the Sooners. Now they had an RPO that they ended up just handing off. And this low-scoring game could lead to a couple touchdowns coming up, but they get the sack, and that was a fumble. That one play alone might have made sure that Arkansas survives, because Oklahoma's probably not getting a touchdown. They forced an actual fumble on the next play, and all they have to do is hit a field goal. I cannot believe it, but once again, we have a team not losing at home, and it's taken forever, but eventually they have to score off of a field goal or a touchdown, surely. Since they refused to just kick their field goal and end it, they deserved a fumble or something, but that pass is going to make sure that the Razorbacks stay alive. And I'm starting to think that this map just might stay like this for the rest of Imperialism. Vanderbilt is the only team on there that still hasn't played. And I'm sorry, Vanderbilt fans, I just jinxed it the second I said it, y'all got landed on. You get to attack though, so it's not the end of the world, and you also get to go up against Tennessee. So if they knock them out here, that would be hysterical. Ignore this terrible view of the stadium as well. There's a chance it happens. Because with a minute and a half left, even though Tennessee has the ball, it is all tied up at 21 and Vanderbilt has to step up. Their defense just needs to force one turnover, and the sim in this game is so random because Vanderbilt was like 15 overalls worse. I thought for sure they were going to get blown out, but Tennessee just can't catch the ball. That is 2 drops in a row. We'll see what they do on 3rd and 10 if it's going to be 3 drops in a row, and it's not. It's brought in. That gets them a lot closer to field goal range, and this next throw is definitely going to put them there. This is not good. For a second, it looked like the Volunteers weren't going to be able to take down Vanderbilt, but I should have always known they'd find a way to come out on top. It seems like the home team just does not lose in these games. I am 3.5 hours into filming, and we have had just 5 teams get eliminated. So we need to see a Vanderbilt miracle or something happen here. They have 32 seconds to get a touchdown. Diego Pavia is going to have to pull off the miracle like I was just saying, and they already are starting. That's going to give them a pretty sizable gain, but with no timeouts left, by the time they're able to get up to this line and spike the ball, there's only about 10 seconds left. This next pass has got to be towards the sidelines, because from this point forward, anything inbounds is just going to end this game, and they threw it away. Just 6 seconds left. You have to imagine that this is going to be the final play of the game. Will Vanderbilt send this one to overtime? It has gone far enough, and it is dropped. Maybe it was swatted down. Somebody there got a hand on it. But what's important is we are back to spinning the wheel where there is still 11 teams left in this Imperialism. Maybe LSU will knock somebody out though. They're attacking to the west. And I think Texas would be so thankful if they took care of Texas A&M for them. I'm starting to realize why in Dynasty Sims, all the SEC schools always beat up on each other though. Because from what we've been able to see, the game engine seems to see them all pretty evenly. I might have jinxed Texas A&M though, because they're down by 38, and yes, they're kicking a field goal. They've cut the lead down to 35, but they aren't even going for the onside kick either. They are giving up just like we have seen another team do in the past. And I should have never said anything about these games all being super competitive. It has been a long time since we've seen a blowout. And I'm really just super excited that I get to finally update this map again. According to this Imperialism, these are the top 10 teams in the SEC. And it seems like any one of these teams could win the entire thing. Arkansas has been landed on for like the 5th time. So once again, they are taking a shot at Missouri. And the Tigers are just going to have to hold their ground. Well, look whose defense is holding on for dear life with not that much time left. They're down to the 3. And that was such a fast big play from Arkansas. The first one we spectate, they are already slinging the rock. But because they got in so fast, I don't think they're going for the 2-point conversion. What they have done though is put the pressure on Brady Cook and Missouri, where an interception would have just ended it. I mean, if Arkansas can force a turnover down here, they are already in field goal range, and that was close too. Brady Cook is selling right now. There's no way around it. He's just not playing well. On 3rd and 10 though, he connects. All it took was finding Luther Burden III. I mean, that was all he had to do the entire time. And with 58 seconds left on the clock, with this completion as well, it's looking like Missouri's going to be safe. Every single time a team comes close to eliminating one, it's like they just find a way to fall short, and they're definitely settling for a field goal. All they have to do is bury this kick, and that is going to be down the middle. So we have another tight finish where they have just survived. Jaquindon Jackson on the losing team won player of the game though. So you can tell that he gave his all for Arkansas, and they still couldn't pull it off. I feel like this wheel keeps giving us the same teams attacking though, or at least having a chance to. This arrow is pointed over to Colorado. The SEC is expanding quite a bit. Still not as bad as the ACC or the Big Ten though. And Ole Miss has been landed on. Will they be able to put another team out? On the road at Georgia could be tough, but it could also be interesting. And Georgia's already had multiple close calls. This one is no different either. After getting a defensive stop, they have the ball back down by 7, and they're driving down the field, but they're going to have to get a touchdown if they even want to send this to overtime, which is crazy. Ole Miss is starting to look like the giant killer in this Imperialism. They have already knocked out Alabama. That pass is not completed, and the Bulldogs are under a ton of pressure. 3rd and 2 now for Carson Beck. He is going to get this one out quick enough, and whenever the pressure is coming quick, you have to do that sometimes. He has held on to it too long here. So with only 43 seconds left and 1 timeout, Georgia is really in a lot of trouble. Getting out of bounds there was a really good move, but even if they do manage to score, they would have to come out on top in overtime, and that pass is going to be completed. Ole Miss could have ended this game, but no, they had to give it up, and they're playing for overtime. They're not going for the 2-point conversion. They better hope that Ole Miss does the same though. They have 3 timeouts, and they could very easily get into field goal range just by throwing the ball, which they're going to do. Jackson Dart might not be done yet. forget, we might not be headed to overtime here. He steps up and he throws it to Georgia. Oh my gosh, you've got to be kidding me. I don't think the home teams are ever losing. In any of the Imperialisms that we have done so far, it has never made this big of a difference, and this throw is going to go to the end zone. But that could have been intercepted as well, and you have to wonder why Georgia's not just kicking 3. They would take a timeout after that run, though. With no time left on the clock, this kick is going to be good. And we have witnessed another team surviving. Why my Kentucky Wildcats couldn't play that hard, I don't know. But Texas on the attack could be scary, and they're headed to the southeast. They're going to have to win at Death Valley, but LSU could be in some trouble. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Tigers somehow won on a Hail Mary or something. Well, with a minute left, LSU is trailing by 2. But they have also gotten the ball on like the 40-yard line, so they really don't need that much to get in field goal range, and that's all they need to win. At one point, it was 29-14 too, so they've come back. And it is 3rd and 1 after spiking the ball, where this ball is going to be caught. We already know exactly what's happening here, though. If they take a sack, that would change everything. They're beaming it to the end zone, and it can't be picked. Texas wins this game with a sack, though. I am so sure of it, and they're coming close, but they get it out in time, and instead the Longhorns are going to get the interception to eliminate the Tigers. LSU was actually in a prime position right there, and all they had to do to seal it was get a couple more yards and kick a field goal. That is a huge win for Texas right there. It should give them the biggest territory in Imperialism. But Oklahoma might have more, and now there's a higher chance that they get attacked. They're touching a lot of the teams that are still remaining, and Ole Miss has been landed on again. This time they're headed to the west. Well, that means they're getting another shot to knock out Arkansas, and to still be in this thing, the Razorbacks have gone through a ton. That's why I'm very curious what they do with less than 4 minutes left, because it's 3rd and 8, and if they don't pick this up, will they settle for a field goal or go for a touchdown? I mean, they're getting the first down, so I guess they don't have to make that decision, but they still will need a 2-point conversion even when they do get in. That's going to determine whether or not they can tie things up, and they do. Ole Miss has done a good job of moving it down the field, though. They're getting closer and closer to field goal range, but if they don't pick up this 3rd and 10, Arkansas would get the ball back, and that is going to be dropped. I thought for a second they brought that in. And why am I not surprised that the Razorbacks just got great field positioning? A 12-year-old could have had a better punt than that, and it sets up Arkansas pretty well. They only need to get about 30 yards to end this game, and the halfback screen's going to help with that. I should have known that the home team would come out on top, but Taylon Green's playing with fire a bit, because that ball could have been easily intercepted, and on 2nd and 10, they're not getting much. In fact, they're not getting anything at all. It is 3rd and 10, and this is going to be intercepted by the Rebels. Now Ole Miss has it again. Neither of these teams wants to win. I've changed my mind. And Jackson Dart got him into a decent position already. Now he's struggling. That stadium pulse must be getting to him. He's just throwing the ball to nobody. That halfback screen worked, but it only got them 1 entire yard. That is it. So on 3rd and 9, there's a good chance they don't pick this up, and yet they do. That is a big conversion for the Rebels. Now he's going to go for another huge pass, and that might do it. You can't say that Arkansas didn't have their chance either. I mean, they're going to try to stop the run, but even if they're able to, there's only going to be like 30 seconds left, and he is fighting. The problem with that is they are on a hash mark, and it is going to be no good. I can't believe that we have witnessed it again, but these teams just don't want to eliminate each other, and we are actually headed to overtime. This is ridiculous. This Imperialism is playing with everybody's emotions, because just when Arkansas fans thought it was all over, that they were eliminated, they all of a sudden weren't because of a missed kick, and the same thing happened in that Texas A&M game. But the Razorbacks have messed up. By settling for a field goal right here, they are giving Ole Miss a great chance, and all the Rebels have to do to knock them out is score a touchdown. Jackson Dart goes for it on the first play, but that was not held on to. I like the aggressiveness, though. We still haven't hit the halfway point of a 16-team Imperialism, and now that they're on 1st and goal, they have 3 plays to just end this. Jackson Dart is going to go towards the end zone right here, but they dropped it. So there's a very good chance that they're just going to settle for a field goal, though this is caught. We have witnessed another elimination. This one comes in overtime. Arkansas can't hang on, and they've put up so many fights in this Imperialism, but they are going to have to finally go. I think their fans can be happy with the effort they put up, though, and these are the 8 teams that are still standing. The next school the wheel is going to land on is Ole Miss again. So they are on the hunt right now to eliminate as many teams as possible, and Oklahoma might be on that list. They want the biggest territory in the country. We've seen the Sooners get through plenty of games already, though, so I figured they'd handle this as well. But with a minute and a half left, they find themselves down by 6, and they almost took a sack. This Ole Miss defense has given Michael Hawkins Jr. all that he can handle, and they just keep on coming all over him. I don't know what else he can really do. After throwing it away, you can see he is fired up, and that level of intensity has kept Oklahoma in this Imperialism so far as he connects on 4th and 14. I don't think Oklahoma is going to go out, because anytime the Sooners have had to clutch up to stay alive, they've been able to pull it off, and that throw is going to be caught, plus they're out of bounds. I swear, it just all works out for them. them. But we've also seen Ole Miss knock out, I think, 3 schools up to this point. This might be number 4 on their list, especially since by the time they're able to get this spike off, there's only 20 seconds. It all comes down to these final 3 or 4 plays, I'm guessing. That one you had to get out. And this is a tough spot to be in. You almost just have to send some shots to the crib where Ole Miss is going to get the interception. You can't test that corner. Somehow the Rebels have done it again, and they're going to go ahead and get that turnover chain. They deserve it. It is hard for me to believe this is the same team I just rebuilt. And you know that Texas is thanking the Rebels right now for dealing with the Sooners. If there's any underdogs to root for, it's either Vanderbilt or Florida. And I will say the Gators are on a pretty good spot on the map, but they haven't gotten an opportunity to attack yet, and Texas is going for Ole Miss. The odds of this pointing towards anybody else were super slim, so they could take out the Rebels after all that they just did. Ole Miss is pretty lucky that Texas forgot how to score touchdowns though, because with less than 3 minutes left, they have never reached the end zone in this game, and I just don't know how that is even possible for a team like Texas. Isaiah Bond's clearly hard to stop, but they've been able to lock him down, and they could have gotten a pick. If the Longhorns fail to score another touchdown in this situation, it's over, and they just dropped that pass. Ole Miss is so close to surviving this attack. They finally hand it off though, and that was all it took to get it back within a possession. I look down at my phone for a second though, and now I'm seeing that it is 20-12. They must have gone for the 2-point conversion, which blows my mind. And they did. Here it is right here. They're gonna go with a little bit of a quarterback run with Quinn, and he had nowhere to go. That means if Ole Miss is able to get 1 first down, this game's over. But the 2-minute warning is helping Texas, and we'll see if they can go anywhere. They can't. If the Rebels somehow choke this away and then get eliminated off of it, that would be crazy. But Texas is getting the ball back, so it could happen. These are the moments where Quinn could really step up, though he might just take a sack. No, he throws it away. And we got 2 of the favorites to win this entire Imperialism just battling it out, where Texas is not getting the first down. I might have hopped in to watch a little bit prematurely for it being a 14-point game, but it's been very entertaining. Texas has picked up every single 4th down that they've needed, and they're also going to do that here. What you all didn't see was their drive down the field to get inside the red zone on that last drive, and to still have a chance. I think they've picked up 4 4th downs in the final 4 minutes, but they had to spike the ball on 1st down. That play didn't go well, so now it's 3rd and 10, and they convert. Ole Miss is on the brink of overtime and elimination if it goes there. This is gonna be caught, and it all comes down to this 2-point conversion. Did we just waste 10 minutes of our life? It all comes down to this play, and they dropped the ball. That's literally it. We're not getting overtime unless they get this onside kick, but Ole Miss recovered it, and look at that. The home team's able to survive. There's still gonna be just 7 teams left, and Ole Miss gets landed on. So if you weren't sick of seeing them, you're about to see even more. Now they're going for Georgia, which again could make things very interesting, but they're gonna have to come out on top, so we'll see if they can do that. At one point, they were up 24-0, and they still have a 10-point lead, but this is the elimination of Georgia. We have to see if the Bulldogs can come back. It's not looking good with a minute and a half left, but they still have all 3 of their timeouts, and I just can't believe they're trailing by 10. Everybody seems to always test that corner, and he might be the best corner that we have ever spectated in an Imperialism, and that one's gonna get a pick. Ole Miss's defense is carrying them for another elimination, because in order for Georgia to come back at this point, they would have to get a stop here, and then a lot more would have had to go their way, but they're just gonna lose. I don't know how, but the Rebels just keep on winning, and I would have never guessed that it would be them going on this type of run in Imperialism. I thought for the SEC Imperialism, either Bama, Georgia, or Texas were winning it all, and of those 3, Texas is the only team that's left on this wheel. Tennessee is also still in this, and they're pretty good, but we haven't seen them play much because they just keep getting free territories. With the new rules of this Imperialism, I haven't figured out what the best strategy is, but Vanderbilt's stuck between so many different teams, and they're attacking Tennessee again. Maybe this time they'll knock them off. That would be so sweet if they made the top 5 doing that, but if they're gonna do that, they have a lot of work to do in 1 minute, and it all starts with this 4th and 6 where they need to pick it up. They're 90 yards away from the end zone, down by 10, where this throw is gonna be going to no one. It could have worked out for them if they got lucky, but Vanderbilt couldn't win this game. So that's a failed attack that wasn't super close for once. Those have been super rare today. Now Vanderbilt is attacking again, and I swear this wheel just loves certain teams on there. This time, instead of going after Tennessee, they're going for Ole Miss, and after beating Alabama in real life, I'll never count them out again. Once again though, they're not coming out on top. They're gonna lose this game by 20. So if they ever get attacked, there's a good chance that they're probably just gonna be eliminated. If the wheel lands on them 3 times in a row, they're just super lucky at this point. It's coming close, but instead it went to Texas, and they get to attack to the west. That's actually gonna lead to them just getting to claim another state, but at this point, I'm sure they'd rather have another shot at Ole Miss than that. With Missouri getting landed on, we'll see where this one ends up pointing. And okay, I'll admit, maybe I should have put a restriction on how far teams can expand. That does not help the Tigers at all. It's landing on Florida, and I'm pretty sure they haven't gotten to attack anybody throughout this entire thing. Ole Miss is in the crossfires of almost all these schools Rebels though, so they're gonna have to defend their territory. And I'll be very impressed if they're able to make it all the way to the end. I didn't imagine the Gators giving them this many issues though, as they have them on a 3rd and 13, but if their defense can't hold up for these next 2 plays, they could give up a touchdown. DJ Lagway's only thrown for 66 yards too, so I can't believe they're in it. But that catch gives the Gators a 1st down, and now he's gonna beat the cover 2. This might actually be it for the Rebels, especially if the Gators can run through just a little bit of clock before they reach the end zone. He's not scrambling though. They still have 3 plays to get into the end zone. Running the ball doesn't work, but it will wind down a little bit of clock. Maybe that was the plan all along. They just need 6 yards and they have it. Ole Miss is in a really tough spot, but we've seen them survive in any situation they need to. They still have 40 seconds and 3 timeouts to get into field goal range, and Jackson Dart can definitely make this happen. We'll see if he's able to find anybody here. Instead, he's just running backwards, and it's 3rd and 21 for the Rebels. This is actually it. They're going to get this one out for a 1st down though. You've got to be kidding. They're not going out. And Jackson Dart is a versatile man back there at quarterback. Not only can he cheat on his girl, he can lead a comeback victory, though that ball almost didn't get out. They still have 25 seconds to make it happen though, and this pass is also going to be broken up. So it's now 3rd and 10 for the Rebels. They still have 2 timeouts left. Florida brought the pressure though, and I still can't imagine Ole Miss losing this. They've been one of the most clutch teams I think I have ever spectated. He has plenty of time back there to deliver a pass that's going to be caught in field goal range. Oh my gosh. The Rebels just aren't losing. They're doing their little land shark thing, and after running the ball once, all they have to do is drill this field goal to send it to overtime. I told you all, I didn't see Ole Miss losing this game. I knew they would just somehow make this happen. So you know who I'm rocking with in extra time. Florida's going to get the ball first, and they're just going to hand this one off, but there's a flag. It is home field advantage coming up clutch, because as you can see, it's on Florida. It's holding. Sending them to a 1st and 20 is brutal. This run is going to pick up a lot of it though, and tensions have got to be high down there on the field. DJ Lagway this time is going to help them get the 1st. I don't think it gets any more entertaining than this though. This entire Imperialism has been a ton of fun, and it does make me want to see what would happen if I did it with like the top 25 teams. There's just been so many even close games. On 3rd and 1, DJ is going to connect in the end zone, and that means the Gators have their touchdown. We trust in Jackson Dart though. We have seen him come up clutch time and time again, and we all know he's got that dog in him. Here on 2nd and 10, he gets it out and it's caught. 14 yards to the end zone to tie things up, though they might even go for the 2-point conversion. I think you have to do that in this overtime period. He might take it himself on the ground, and this Ole Miss roster does not want to get put out, though he just turned it over. That's it. Florida is going to beat Ole Miss. Jackson Dart just ruined it. I can't believe he threw that ball. All he had to do was like take off or hand it off or something. But no, that's going to do it. Florida just upset Ole Miss. It looked like nobody was going to be able to put them out, but of all teams, the Gators have been the ones that have done it. And now they have to deal with being in the middle of everybody else. They're not in a great spot, but they have survived an attack from Georgia. So if this arrow points towards them, they might be able to survive one from Texas too. There really wasn't anywhere else for that to go. They're just stuck. And the Swamp might be able to survive Hurricanes, but can it survive the Longhorns? With a minute left, they do have a 1-point lead, but you can tell their fans are not excited, that they're nervous because Texas has the ball and it takes a field goal. That is all that Texas needs, and Quinn is going to get this one out for a couple, but they're really not pushing it deep like they should. There's not that much time left in this game, and they have threats like Isaiah Bond that can literally outrun everybody, but now they're stuck on a 4th and 5. Will the Gators survive this attack? It all comes down to this play right here where they've gotten in pressure, and somehow they are going to stay in it for a little bit longer. DJ Lagway might only be a freshman, but he has done everything he's needed to, and now Tennessee is up. I'm pretty sure they're touching almost every school that's still left, but with the arrow pointing in that direction, it's Vanderbilt that's going to have to defend. The Commodores have tried to knock out the Volunteers before, but now things have been flipped, which isn't as much fun. Just looking at the score, it is not pretty, and I feel bad for any Vanderbilt fan in attendance watching your team only put up 6. I don't know what happened to them, but they just couldn't keep up with the Volunteers in this matchup, and Tennessee's looking like a real threat to win the whole thing. As a Kentucky fan, this Imperialism is playing out pretty much worst case scenario, because we got out early and Florida and Tennessee are 2 of the 4 teams left. From here on out, it's very important whoever gets the wheel, because at least they don't have a chance at being eliminated, and that's pointed to the West. I guess Florida's going to try and attack Texas, so we got some retaliation going on for the attack that the Longhorns had a little bit ago. Texas isn't that safe either, because with 2 minutes left, they only have a 4-point lead, and DJ Lagway could actually get the win with a touchdown here. That's a good start. start. Here on the next play, they're going through the air. They're going to stay through the air for the rest of this drive. Teams rarely run inside the 2 minutes, but what on earth is DJ doing? I mean, he's slamming the ball on the ground like a kid, but he refused to throw it away, and he took a major hit because of it. Even after breaking 2 sacks, this deep bomb is going to be swatted, and he just looks so upset. You gotta cheer up, man. You're on the verge of upsetting one of the best teams in the country, and that completion is pretty big for them. The halfback screen will also get them another 7, but his stats popped up at the bottom, and even though DJ's thrown for like 250 yards and 3 touchdowns, he's thrown 3 interceptions. For all we know, he might be going for number 4. This ball is held in, and I can't believe this Gator drive is still alive. Texas has had so many chances to end it. Now DJ is stepping up and running, but it's going to cause Florida to burn their final timeout. They have 33 seconds to get 15 yards. It really shouldn't be that hard. But after taking that sack, Florida is lining up to spike the ball to stop the clock. And they're going back to discuss one play. It's all going to come down to this right here. Can DJ clutch up on the final play? But he can't. That is an inbounds catch. They weren't ever going to be able to get to the line and spike it in time again. So Texas avoids losing to Florida, and we're back on the wheel where Missouri gets to play. We'll see who they end up attacking. They are headed to the west. But with how this map is set up, they're going to be playing the Gators too. I feel like that was pretty expected. They're in the middle of it all. And after giving up a late touchdown, it's not looking too good for Florida. If they held them to a field goal, it would be a different story. But now they're trailing by 10. And the Gators have a minute and a half left to survive against the Tigers. It's not looking great. DJ is going to get a throw out though. And they've started to use their timeouts. If you're a Florida fan, that is not good news. It means they're going to have to recover an onside kick. And time is already run under 57 seconds anyway. They're going to have to start getting some bigger gains. To be fair, it was a really good run from Florida, but they were our last hope at an underdog. And I just don't see how they're going to pull off a 10-point comeback in this time frame, but that's going to help a lot. Once they spike the ball, there's still 30 seconds, and that's enough time to do what they need to do, but they need to reach the end zone in one of these next 2 plays, and that is not who you want to throw to. I mean, he reached the end zone, it just went to the wrong team. And that means we're down to just 3 teams remaining. This entire map is now just a bunch of highlighter colors. We're going to go ahead and remove Florida off of it. And Missouri is actually not in the best of spots. They're between the other 2 schools, and they're going to have to defend their territory. Unless that somehow pointed farther west, but it didn't. If the Tigers want to make the championship, they're going to have to survive this and then attack. But that's not looking very likely considering they're trailing by 6 with a minute and a half left. They're going to have to score a touchdown here, and I think they might have done it on the first play that we're watching. Cooper just dusted that corner. They have a 1-point lead. At least assuming they hit this kick, which they always do. Now it's on the Tigers to just keep the Longhorns away from field goal range, and they could have had a pick right there. Here on 2nd and 10, Quinn is going to have a clean pocket where he gets it out, and the wide receiver just deflected it to Missouri to return it all the way for a pick 6. What just happened? He went for the catch and it like popped in the air. I have to review that. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this before. He literally just couldn't hold on, and he popped it so far in the air that they had the freest return of all time. What's wild as well is that does not end the game. Missouri only has an 8-point lead, and they've just given up a touchdown to Isaiah Bond. There is no way they came out pressing him. This is the maddest game we have seen in this Imperialism yet. And I'm over here losing my mind. On the 2-point conversion, Texas is going to go with a run that hasn't worked for them in previous games, but it almost looked like Missouri's guys just shoved him in. I don't think we've ever witnessed 3 touchdowns in like a 30-second time span. But after all of that, if the Tigers lose this, that would stink. They're using Ole Miss's strategies to stop the clock, and there's still 42 seconds left. They could get into field goal range, but they're running. I don't understand why they're playing so passive, but maybe they're trying to make sure if they don't get this 3rd and 2, Texas won't have any time left. Looking back, that was a smart decision, and we are headed to another overtime game. Texas is going to have the first drive, so they're going to be the team that sets the tone here. That's a good run from Blue, and I'd imagine on 2nd and inches, they're just going to feed it to him again so they can move the chains. Cool spin though. He's running like his life depends on it. Quinn is a different story, and I'd imagine on 2nd and goal, they're going to stay on the ground, which they have. If they don't reach the end zone right here though, that greatly increases Missouri's chances of survival, and Texas might look back on this game and be super upset about it. Wait, they missed the field goal as well. I didn't even notice. It just went so quick. I assumed it was going to go in, but this is just another case of them not putting it in the middle enough, and I think EA has got to fix this issue. Right now, if you're on a hash mark in this game, teams are more likely to hit from 55 than from like 25 yards, and this is going to prove it right here if Missouri is not able to pick up this 3rd and 13. Texas has a really good kicker, and this is a much farther kick, but it's going to go down the middle like like clockwork, and Missouri is going to survive, but Texas won a game like this against Texas A&M earlier. That's why I don't feel too bad for the Longhorns, but the map is going to stay the same. And whoever this wheel lands on is super important. It looks like Tennessee is now attacking. Unless this points up to the north, they are going for Missouri. But the Tigers have gotten lucky. There's going to be another spin. I figured with all the extra states, it would make the ending of this imperialism so much more chaotic. And Missouri is going to have a chance to get out of the middle. If they're able to take down Tennessee here, they're going to have a spot in the championship. There's a lot that's on the line in this one. And with a minute left, the Volunteers are down by 6. If they're not able to score a touchdown on this drive, it is all over. They're going to be eliminated, but they're getting close. Because past the 50 with a minute left isn't the end of the world. It's not the worst spot to be in, especially as they're at the 35 now. But Nico still has to get the job done for them, and it looks like he might be running backwards into a sack. No, he's going to try to scramble, and he is able to outrun that defender and shed him. That was a big play from the freshman. But it took him a while to spike the ball, so by the time that they're hiking this, there's less than 30 seconds left. They just used their final timeout. And that was not worth it for a 3-yard gain inbounds. Now they're going to the end zone. But Missouri's all over it, and this is it. Will Tennessee stay alive defending their home territory? It all comes down to this play, or is Missouri going to have a spot in the Imperialism Championship for the SEC? It looks like this ball is going to be swatted, and I can't believe the Tigers have done it. They've battled all the way there. It looks like Luther Burden was the guy that got them 2 of their touchdowns. And that is certainly no surprise at all, but now we're going to be left with just 2 different SEC schools. If you go back 15 years, neither of these teams were even in the conference, and Texas should have the first chance to attack in this championship. That arrow is pointing upwards into some territory, not an open state, so we're about to find out if Missouri can hold off on the Longhorns' attacks. Up by 3 points with 3.5 minutes left, it's looking pretty good for them, but they need to get this third down, and because they're not, they're only going up by 6. I feel more confident they're going to drill this kick than if they were on like the 5-yard line, and let's see what Texas can do. If they score a touchdown, they would go up by 1 point. It would give them a chance to knock out Missouri, winning the Imperialism Championship, and that's a good start. Isaiah Bond's the one player you don't want to see loose in the open field, and that big tackle takes us to the 2-minute warning. This could literally be it for SEC Imperialism. Can Texas get a touchdown? That's what it comes down to. They were one of the favorites going into this. They've made it all the way, taking care of business, but they came very close to getting eliminated. From a competitive standpoint, this was a great Imperialism. Very few blowouts. That's what you want to see. And it is now 3rd and 2. The Longhorns have a hitch route wide open, but I don't think that's enough. Quinn saw the exact same thing as me. This one, he gets out fast enough too. But the Missouri defender knocked it loose, and I think that's going to be enough for them to just seal this win. They technically need 3 more yards, but they should be able to get that right here. And Texas isn't going to put out Missouri wrapping things up. They defended well there. The map's going to stay looking the exact same. But if the wheel lands on Texas again, then they're just going to be super unlucky. For the championship, I'm not sure how I like how this is going to play out. So this is the one time where I don't like the rules, where you can only lose your territory if you're at home. But then again, that's probably because I never root for the favorites to win the entire thing. This is round 2 of Can Texas Beat Missouri? And this time with a minute and a half left, the Tigers find themselves down by 3. They're taking a sack, which is not what you want in this situation. They only have 1 timeout left, but all they have to do is get into field goal range, and that would at least allow them to send it to overtime. Brady Cook, what are you doing? You are not going to outrun him right there. I don't know why he thought he could, but he must have woke up thinking he was in Jalen Milroe's body, and it looks like he's just going for the check down. It all comes down to this right here. 23-20, Missouri, 4th and 21, and they are going to somehow convert. I swear, Imperialism just is special in this way, where when clutch plays need to happen, the computer just makes it happen, and it is so much fun. That's a good catch too. With that catch, there's no reason to risk any mistakes. They're just going to kick this field goal to send it to OT, but I think he missed, and I cannot believe it. We have to watch this back. I swear, the computer like never misses these field goals. I thought we were getting an overtime game, but instead it's over, and that's a shocking way for Texas to win the entire thing. It's Missouri's fault though. They should have sent it to overtime. And in Texas's first year in the SEC, they have won the first SEC Imperialism. The conference couldn't take over the whole map, but they got quite a bit. And I know one of the favorites ended up winning the entire thing, but either way, it was super entertaining, and make sure to check out some of my other videos if you enjoyed this one.